Yeah, it's an honor to be here today. Anytime you get an opportunity to play in a Sugar Bowl, it's a special time. I think it's one of the most historic bowls there is. It's even better when it's part of the CFP. Our guys have been hard at work and preparing for what is a great opponent in Notre Dame. I have a lot of respect for Coach Freeman, his staff. We have intertwined staff. We've gone against each other at different times. I think when you turn on the tape, their play speaks for itself, their physicality, their toughness. I had a lot of respect for their program, and we're excited to be here and very thankful that we get to play in a venue event, a historic game, all the classic Sugar Bowls that I grew up watching. It's always great to be a part of that. So with that, I'll close it out. Yeah, when we talk about their team, it's in depth, like their backups, their starters, their offensive line, their receiving core, their defensive line, they're big. And that's what it starts with in the SEC. The line of scrimmages have to have size and girth because you have to take on these teams week in and week out that have great size. Notre Dame's built that way. They're built that way on paper, but then what you see on the tape speaks louder than the paper does. You see how they play. You see the toughness they play with. The linebackers are downhill, thumping. The backs are elite. They're built like an SEC team, and I say that as a huge compliment because I think those rosters are some of the most talented in the country, and Notre Dame's built that way, probably more on the side of physicality. Yeah, that's probably not a question for me to answer as far as a salute to him, but I certainly salute his life plan, his lifestyle, the way he lived his life. He embodies the Georgia culture in terms of being from a state, agricultural state. He's from the part of the state where I'm from, the southwest corner of the state, and there's so many things that he did for our state beyond people's even recognition. Just the fact that he was the president of the United States and was a fellow Georgian is pretty a special feat. And I didn't ever get to meet him personally. I have a lot of acquaintances, obviously, that know him and tremendous amount of respect for what he did and what he meant to our state. That's a really hard question and a really long question. I don't know that it's as simple as saying, let's name a commissioner and it solves all our problems. I don't think that's the case. I think we're governed by separate circumstances. Conferences govern us, NCAA governs us, now we have courts governing us, and nobody is over all of those. I think a commissioner would be a nice thing in theory, but what can they effectively get done if everybody can't agree on something? And Nick would be great. I know he's a huge advocate for college football. He wants to make it better. He's always been a person that believed in leave it better than you found it, and I have a lot of respect for the way he does it, but I'm probably not the guy that can tell you what a commissioner can and can't do in terms of making it a better process for all of us. Well, I think the number one thing a quarterback has to have is decision-making skill. Number one, he makes really good decisions. Number two thing for a quarterback is accuracy. Not necessarily arm talent, but accuracy. He has accuracy. So decision-making is a skill. Accuracy is a huge skill. Athletic ability and talent probably takes over third. He has those traits. All the intangibles in terms of toughness, character, embody what he was raised on. His dad was a really good football player, played at Georgia Southern. He's been raised around football. He's a coach's son. All the players play harder for him. Do you make the players around you better? Is what you look for in a quarterback. I think he raises the skill level of everybody around him because of who he is. So that's my reason for believing he's a good quarterback. They've done a great job. Number one, it makes you realize how close you are to having to go in the game when it's like the next thing. When you're sitting there with a guy between you and the guy, it's different than when you're the guy and you got to be the next guy, and their reps have gone up. So in a weird way, it's been a blessing because I've seen both those kids really accelerate. You'd like to have seen that acceleration without this happening, but they've gotten more reps. They've gotten more important reps. And they're taking all Gunner's reps because Gunner's taking all Carson's reps. So I've been very pleased with both those guys, and I think they've embraced the role and understand that it's just a lot more urgent now, and I'm proud of what both of them are doing. Yeah, he is an exceptional player. You know, I wasn't aware of him until we watched a little bit of tape on both Indiana and Notre Dame before we knew who we were going to play. And I was like, who is this guy? 30. Like, he is long, he is athletic, he is twitchy. And then while watching the game, he showed up more. Because it was like he made some flash plays, he's rusher, he's edge. And then when I dug deeper into the special teams, I'm like, this guy is phenomenal on special teams. His reach, his athleticism. I mean, I don't know what they list him as, but he looks bigger than he lists as on paper. And just going to be a phenomenal talent. To do what he's done this early in his career just shows you how talented he's going to be. Number one, he is playing really well, doing a great job. I remember him vividly being on our list and being a guy who's a good football player. I don't know how actively we recruited him because I can't remember what class he came out in. He was last year's class, I guess, yeah. So I remember going by there, and he was getting ready to go to school. And we were actually looking at maybe another kid at their school that just came out this year. And what a good-looking kid he was. And he's playing at a high level for them, doing a great job. I know this. The Georgia high school football programs put out kids all over the country. I was watching last night the Monday night football game. I guess it was Monday night. Maybe it wasn't Monday night, Sunday night. So watching the Falcons game, and I'm like, all right, there's A.J. Terrell making a hit on Chris Rodriguez, a kid from Kentucky and a kid from Clemson hitting each other, trying to make plays, and there's Georgia kids all over that field. The one thing you learn quickly as being the head coach at Georgia is you can't sign them all, and there's a lot of them that you end up missing on, and for a guy to start at freshman, at tackle, is really hard to do. Like probably one of the hardest things to do in football is play offensive line as a freshman, and he's doing it at a high level. I don't know how much, I feel like the years that we've had really good development are the years we get more practices. So this year we've gotten, 12, 13 bonus practices, and those are where you develop your roster at. That's where you get like an extra spring practice. So it's almost a multiplier where, all right, I got 2 spring practices for my guys, sometimes for your mid-years, but I get extra practices to get our guys ready. The SEC championship game is an extra week of practice. I don't know that the portal and NIL has had any effect on that development. What affects that development is if more of your guys go in the portal, you got less players to develop. So the guys that are in the transition period, the ones who went in and are practicing with their teams, and the ones that are getting ready to come to your team, they're not practicing with you, so they're not getting better. So the people that stay put tend to develop better and get better as they go, and that's kind of been the proof in the pudding for us. We haven't been a huge portal team in terms of taking guys out of it. We like to develop our own roster and grow our own roster from within, but certainly we want to get better each year with somebody from the portal, and we try to do both. Yeah, you have to do everything you can. It's win or go home. So there is no measure of, well, I got to be conservative on this, I got to be conservative on that. I mean, is your quarterback a better running back than your running backs? It's the first question. Hard to believe with the backs they got, and hard to believe with the backs we got, that either of our quarterbacks are better. They are an extra hat. They bring an extra dimension. Red area, super high tendency to run the quarterback. Zone read teams, ability to pull the ball, eye candy, option plays. Both teams execute those. I don't think either coordinator will be holding back because they're worried about the next game. They're going to do whatever they have to do to win this game. And if Gunner or Riley had to run the ball 30 times to win the game, I think both coordinators would do that. It's not the makeup of the offenses, but whatever they got to do to win the game, they'll do. He's lovable. I mean, he's a team player. I mean, I think everybody has a different personality. Like every player on our team is not the same. I'm not the same as coach. The other coaches are. Gunner has a lovable trait that everybody wants to do well for him. Everybody sees the humility he goes about his work with. He's not a big talker. He doesn't expect you to recognize him and acknowledge him as the guy that's doing extra work. He just doesn't. He doesn't look for credit for it. He embodies what a great teammate is, and he's been that way since I've known him, which has been a long time. And I think people respect that nowadays. They appreciate that, especially in their quarterback, because he's not a look at me type guy. It's just not who he is.